Right. And we're back. Welcome to this PES 2021 Wolves Master League Series. If you remember last time out, great episode. We took on Arsenal in the FA Cup final. We ended up winning 3-1 to get revenge against the Gunners for knocking us out of the Europa League. Wolves win their first FA Cup in 60 years. So great scenes from the boys, but not great scenes the game after. Premier League, we drop points against Palace, fall from first to third in a very crushing defeat that saw us blow our title chances away as Man City win the title and United take second. But if you also remember, Napoli came in swooping in for Adama Traore, which we quickly said, hey, we need a lot more money than that. We're going to need more money. And guess what? They came back with more money. Check this out. 43 mil for Adama Traore. Hold on a minute. That's lots of money. That's a really nice looking bank account. It's not enough money, but it's a good start. Now, 43 mil for 3 goals and 7 assists from Adama. We're going to keep that in our back pocket and hold it for later. But Aston Villa, Leeds, and Fulham go down. Watford, Bournemouth, and Wednesday promoted to the Premier League. Now we're going to take a quick tour around Europe and Europe's competitions and see how everything happened. Of course, Arsenal did lose the Europa League final against Leipzig, which of course makes us feel very, very good. In the Champions League, PSG defeat Napoli 3-1, which also saw PSG do the double as they win Ligue 1 by 2 points over Marseille, a very close race over there in France, 90 points to 88. And speaking of close races, Italy can say the same as Juventus overtake Napoli in the very last match day, 86 points to 84, which means Napoli lost the Champions League final and the Serie A, the Scudetto, on the last day of the season. So my heart goes out to them. Over in Spain, Madrid and Barcelona, not as close of a race. Madrid, 98 points, takes the top spot over Barca with 90. Madrid 20 points ahead of Atletico, so those two teams showing their true class. But Bayern Munich, look at this, 18 points ahead of second place Gladbach that we knocked out of the round of 16 in Europe. Bayern Munich also, I mean, always a great side, but they made some crazy signings, like they signed Martial, they signed Dele Alli, so they have a very stacked team, lots of quality, and you can see it with 89 points on the season. But now that we looked at the other teams across Europe, let's go ahead and take a look at ourselves to see how we played this past season, kind of take some time to reflect on what worked and what maybe didn't work. So you see right there, we played a possession game, a long pass possession game, which I think is fitting. We did try to keep possession a lot of the time, lots of long balls, especially from Connor Cody, Ruben Neves, and João Moutinho. We definitely played on that. We definitely favored that right-hand side a lot more with Nelson and Adama kind of dominating that right flank. And while my attacking approach is counterattack short pass, and yes, we did play a more counterattacking style towards the later end of the season last season, I have those settings on just because it helps with player movement and things like that. My favorite advanced instructions are hug the sideline, just because I like to get that width from my wing backs, from my wingers, and so forth, and centering targets, because I feel like that just makes better runs into the box for cutbacks and pullbacks and crosses, things like that. Now looking defensively, I'll let defense conservative, kind of towards the middle. I think that's pretty accurate. We won lots of balls in the an R third, which is expected but very good. Connor Cody and Diaz kind of manning the center with 22% ball winning area there. But we play with frontline pressure and aggressive, and while that doesn't really translate, I think that also helps us because if we play on all out defense conservative, we sit back way too much. Swarm the box and gegenpress were advanced instructions, but as much as I love gegenpress, swarm the box, I just figured out it really wasn't working for us. So in the last couple of games of the season, I took it off. I left that instruction empty, so I think I'm going to do that moving forward. Just because swarm the box, with swarm the box, players clump up too much and leave us open and vulnerable to long shots. So that's what I'm going to do moving forward. Taking a look at the average stats over our 55 games, 49% possession, which I think is pretty solid because there were lots of games we only had 30-35% possessions, but quite a few games we had 60 to 65% possession. So it balances out right around the middle at 49%. So I am happy with that because we did end up playing more counter-attacking than we did possession-based approaches last year. As far as shots and shots faced, it's about a 1-to-1 ratio. 9 shots to 8.8 that we faced, and 5.4 shots on target, and we faced 5.4 shots on target. So while a 1-to-1 ratio isn't terrible, I would like to shoot more than shots we face by a more considerable amount. It just comes with defending and me not being very good at defending, but I know I need to get better about that. As far as passes go, I'm pretty happy with that pass percentage. It's hovering right around 79 or 80%, which is pretty good considering that we are on manual passing, but also I use passes for clearances and shots and things like that. So for all of the searching and progressive and creative passes that I try, I think we still do a very good job of being accurate passers with about an 80% success rating across the board. However, crosses, on the other hand, a different story. With 5.6 crosses a game over 55 games, that's over 300 crosses that we're sending into the box with only about a 22% success rate, so that's really not an efficient way to use our possessions. So I would like to, next season, not rely so much on crosses, and if we do sell Adama, that's going to do that's going to make an impact on our success of our crosses, because Adama, he would get to the byline, whip a cross in, sometimes pretty hopelessly, just hoping Raul or someone was there. So going to try to depend less on crosses going into next season. As far as interceptions, I think that's pretty good. 17 a game. Pretty happy with that. Lots of air interceptions when Connor Cody, Ruben Diaz, Willie Bali would win headers, but sometimes our midfielders like Moutinho and Neves and Dendoncker would make really smart interceptions with their feet. So they use their ability to read the game and make plays on the ball, so you see that there. Tackles, I'm fine with that just because PES is really funny about tackles won versus overall tackles, so we're going to leave that like that. Only 4 fouls a game though, so I think that's pretty promising. And 4.1 saves, which is very good on Rui's end, but I don't want to be so reliant on Rui because we did see towards the end of the season it would come back to haunt us, where once Rui slips up once, we're really in a hole. So we don't want to be as dependent on Rui, but that comes with me being a better defender. Going back to the point about crosses, only 7 goals from crosses, and now you have to take things with a grain of salt, but of course, because things come off of deflections and headed away and things like that, and those don't count as goals scored from a cross. But so you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But moving on to everything else, Ruben Neves, of course, at the core of everything we do here at Wolves, with the dribbling, passing, passes received, even scoring, he put up 13 goals this season. Tackles won, he won 200 tackles over the course of the season, so very impressive from Ruben Neves. Connor Cody, by far, winning the aerial battle race. Raul, of course, scoring 23 on 93 attempts, so about 1 in every 4 go in. That is a testament to my finishing not being very good, but always looking to improve on that. But of course, you see Ruben Neves so key to what we do here at Wolves. He really keeps the team ticking, and he's so good at what he does. Now, here are some overall records. You can pause if you want to analyze these more. You might have guessed it, but Ruben Neves is our highest rated player at a 6.6 match rating. On average, when he did put up 13 goals, 4 assists in 42 games. Raul comes next as a 6.5 with 23 and 5 in 45 games. Rafa scored 11. Pedro scored 5. Here you can see that Fabio also scored 11, so a very big season from the teenager. Daniel Planence put up 8 and 9, so he was by far our most creative force. But Adama Traore, again, you see the 3 goals, 7 assists, the 10 goal contributions in 47 games is a very good record. However, for 43 million, I think that maybe we could spend that money to someone who can contribute more in a more effective way. Taking a look at our competition prize money, we gained 9 million from placing third in the Prem, which I think we should have won more, but we move on. We got 2 mil from winning the FA Cup and just under 1 million for making it to the quarterfinals of Europe. So it's always good to bring in income. I want to keep this profitable as far as this goes. I want to bring in more money than what I spend on transfers. So I do want to keep it profitable at the end of the season. Looking at the 20 mil we earned from merchandise sales this season, big numbers from Raul and Rui, Moutinho and Neves. We're ranked 19th in the world right now, sitting right behind the Arsenal, United, Spurs, Man City. We're knocking on the door of the Big Six, and to show them that we're knocking on the door of the Big Six, we got to show them our trophy cabinet. We won the FA Cup this last season, which feels really good, but it's just the start. We got to add more trophies to it in due time, but big things are coming. Speaking of big things coming, James Garner, the man from United, did accept that free contract for 23K earlier, so we have been sitting on that for a little bit, and so we're still thinking about bringing him in because I think he would be a good addition to the squad. Now, as we get into setting goals, my number one goal is 1, make it back to the Champions League. I want to show everyone we're not a fluke. I want to show y'all it's not a fluke. I know we played the first half of the season on lower difficulties, and when we jumped to Legend, that's when, of course, we had trouble, but when we play on Legend difficulty from day one next season, it's not a fluke. We're going to make it to the Champions League again. Not only do we have to make it to the Champions League again, but in the Champions League, we have to show them that we belong. We have to show them that we belong there, we belong to be there, that we're not a fluke. That last season was not a fluke, that I wasn't just playing on easy difficulties to get a head start. That's our number one goal. Get back to Champo, but also show that we belong in Champo. That's my number 1 and my number 2 goal, and it looks like the board is on the same page as me, so that's always good, have that backing from the board. Now looking at my emails, Fabio, Kiana, Pedro need new contracts. Vinagra's up to a 77. And hello boys, welcome back. Good time to be at Wolves. Now that everyone's back from loan, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our starting 11 and our subs. The state of our roster: the regular 5-2-3 is Ruby between the sticks, Cody captain, Saiz and Bali the back 3, Martial and Semedo the wing backs with Neves and Moutinho the 2 in midfield, Parence and Adama on the wings with Raul, the big striker, up top. You can see the subs. You can see those already joining. Johnny coming back from his injury, quote unquote, though he was on loan at Crystal Palace, in our universe. Bruno Jordao comes on loan. James Garner comes in on a free, maybe. But Catrone, Rafa Mir, and Leonardo Campana all come back from loan, so that really kind of clogs up the center forward position. But that's what our team looks like now. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the players coming back to Wolves. Johnny Castro, of course, coming back from his ACL injury, so not sure if he's going to be able to be the same player that he was before. Bruno Jordao, the midfielder, comes back from his loan spell from Middlesbrough, I believe, Fulham. So James Garner, of course, coming back on the free contract. Rafa Mir from Huesca. Leonardo Campana from Harmanuki in Argentina. And Patrick Catrone comes back from Fiorentina, and he's the most interesting one because he started the season at 77 and he's now at 81, so maybe it's time to give Patrick some time up top in a Wolves shirt. So that's a really interesting development from him. Now we should take another look at the offer on the table for Adama, the 83 overall winger. Scored 3, assisted 7 again. 5.9 average rating in 47 games for 43 mil. I want to know what you think. Should we sell Adama? Should we keep Adama? How important is Adama? Let me know what you think. I think we should sell him personally to get more money, to build depth, and build a good squad for Champions League football. But let me know what you think. I really value your opinion on things like this. And so as we talk about a potential big money sale, I think it's only fitting to look at some big money signings that could be coming in to the squad. And first and foremost, I want to talk about Douglas Costa. Now, if we do happen to sell Adama Traore, I think Douglas Costa would be the perfect replacement for Adama Traore. Of course, not incredibly similar. Douglas a lot more technically sound, and Adama a lot more physical and bulldog-like. Gets his head down, gets to the byline, runs past people. Douglas Costa much more tricky, but I think Douglas Costa would be a very good replacement. He's left-footed, he's versatile, he's crafty, he's a very pacey winger, and while he doesn't fit our transfer philosophy because he's Brazilian, because he plays in Italy, I think we can make that work. We can use one of our exception signings to sign him. He is Champions League experienced with over 60 Champions League appearances over his career. I think he would add some very quality experience and skill and technique to the squad, something we really don't have. He's also been linked with Wolves in real life because of George Mendes and Guest Food Sports, and I think he would be an interesting signing to make. He's worth about 25 million, but he doesn't have a release clause, so he could go for as much as 35 or 40 million. So that would take a massive chunk of our budget. Speaking of no release clause, Alexander Lacazette. Now this is very interesting. One of you suggested that we look for a striker who can play with the ball at his feet and be more of a playmaking 9 than just a finishing 9 like Raul is. And though Raul does play make, someone who's more comfortable kind of in the pocket and unlocking defenses. They suggested Iago Aspas, but I thought Alexander Lacazette would be an interesting shout. 84 overall, he would fit our transfer philosophy because he does play at Arsenal. He's an experienced Premier League and Champions League striker. He's quick, he's shifty, he's a good playmaker, very good with the ball at his feet. Comfortable playing in the 9 position in a front 3, or even in a partnership in a front 2, but he's valued at 43 million with no release fee, so he would by far be the most expensive player we could sign this summer. And while we might just send a scout to England to get a sweet deal, he might just be too much, and he might not be the right fit for Wolves. So that brings me to Duvan Zapata of Atalanta, the 84 overall rated striker. Again, he doesn't fit our transfer philosophy because he's Colombian and plays in Italy, but he's a Champions League experienced goal scorer. He's very good in the air. He's very physical. And he's the best pound-for-pound replacement for Raul that isn't Edison Cavani, because Cavani is too highly rated for us. So Zapata has a 37 million pound release fee, so I think he is a very affordable option, and I like that we know how much he costs. So let me know what you think about these very big signings as we kind of get into some other signings I wanted to make. So let's start on the left-hand side with Jose Sa, the Olympiacos #1, who formerly played at Porto. Would be a very good signing to not only replace John Ruddy, but he would add Champions League experience, Champions League clean sheets to the squad. He'd be able to step in and give Rui Patricio the night off, especially early stages of cup competitions is what I'm hoping for. But Jose Sa, a very inexpensive backup goalkeeper. Diogo Leite, about 7 million pound release fee for the Portuguese young center back. The Porto man, we looked at him earlier in the season, but we decided not to sign him because we did sign Ruben Diaz. But I do want Diogo to kind of take over Romain's role within the next year or two, so I think that is kind of his future, taking over Romain's role on the left-hand side of our back 3. Getting into some new wing backs, Marc Cucurella would look to step into a first-team position if we do sell Martial and Johnny right ahead of Ruben Vinagre. But Ainsley Maitland-Niles would offer some valuable depth on the right-hand side, as both of these wingbacks are box-to-box, end-to-end kind of players with very good with the ball at their feet, very good crossing. I think Maitland-Niles would be very good to add pressure to Nelson, because Nelson was always going to get picked last season because he was just so much better than Keanu Hover. We didn't have someone to really step in, maybe play Adama kind of out of position, but Ainsley Maitland-Niles will be a very good wing back for that right-hand side. Now getting into Renato Sanchez, the midfielder, I've always told myself I don't need Renato Sanchez because I have a Leander Dendoncker. But because of this comment, where they said that we need someone to link play from our defense through our midfield to our attacking unit, I realized that we didn't have that, and that's why we struggled so much with getting the ball up the field sometimes, because we relied on Raul to come back and act as that link. So Renato Sanchez and Dendoncker are very, very different players. Leander Dendoncker, very destructive, very explosive, very defensively minded, but Renato Sanchez, much better with the ball at his feet, much more comfortable and capable in attack, much more of a bulldog, kind of like Adama, gets his head down, and he can run through defenses, and he can do a very good job at linking the defensive units to the attacking unit, and I think he would be a very important signing in kind of making that next step as we progress as a squad and kind of gel as a squad. Now getting into some potential forwards we could sign, I have here Alan Saint-Maximin, the winger who's at Newcastle in real life, but he signed with Milan in this save, so he would take up one of those non-philosophy signing slots. But he's a very good winger. He can play on both wings. He's very pacey, he's quick, he's incredible with the ball at his feet, he's strong. He's very similar to Adama in a way, but he's much more technically sound than Adama. Similar to Douglas Costa, he's more of a blend between Adama and Douglas Costa. Kind of, if I can put it that way. One thing for sure, he is a cheaper alternative to Douglas Costa with only a 19 million pound release fee compared to Douglas Costa's 35 to 40 million pound price tag, if he can get that high. So Alan Saint-Maximin, a younger, less experienced, but again cheaper alternative to Adama Traore, someone who can replace his presence on the wing. Now looking at two strikers, Gabriel Barbosa, Gabigol, the Brazilian playing at Flamengo, lighting it up in the Brazilian leagues. Again, doesn't fit our transfer philosophies because he is Brazilian playing at Flamengo, but I think he's very similar to Lacazette, a cheaper, younger alternative to Lacazette. If you look at their skill graphs, they're almost identical. Very good with the ball at his feet, very creative, slick passer, decent finisher, and most importantly, he can play up top and on the wings. So I think that's something interesting to look at, as we might have to transition to more of a 5-3-2, 3-5-2 kind of system if we do happen to bring him in. Definitely cheaper at 25 million pounds compared to Lacazette's 40 plus million pounds. So definitely an option there. And last but most certainly not least, Diego Costa, the big striker from Atletico Madrid. First thing off the bat, much cheaper replacement for Raul than Duvan or Lacazette or Gabigol. Now, of course, he is older. He's 33. He is worse. He's only 81 overall, but he offers strength, physicality up top, aggression up top, and some subtle creativity. He's very good with the ball at his feet, very good at holding up play, and he adds some much-needed experience to our squad, especially if we do happen to lose Raul. And only 17 million, he gives us a lot more financial flexibility to do other things with our money and spend big in other places. And that's kind of going to wrap up where my head is at as far as transfers go. I would love to hear what you have to say, what you're thinking, who you think we should sign, anything like that. Please drop any suggestions and ideas down below. I love hearing from y'all. I'm really excited to get back to y'all. We're going to take a quick break because of the holidays, but when we get back, we're going to have new season, new players, new kits, and it's going to be really great. I really want to make things as wonderful as I can. But until then, hope you have a wonderful, safe, and healthy holiday season, whatever you observe or celebrate. Have a wonderful time. I will see you in a bit.